Now, after that heart to heart, I'm gonna share with you what are some things that I do to kind of keep myself grounded and prevent myself from slipping into that comparison trap. The very first thing I am always focused on is my why. Why is it that I chose to homeschool? And that's something that I want you to really anchor yourself on. Why did you choose to homeschool? Was it a faith-based reason? Was it because of flexibility? Was it because of the quality of education? Was it because you wanted to really be the one to instruct your children and you didn't want somebody else to do it? What was the reason that made you choose to homeschool? That right there, that's your anchor. That's your compass. That's what's going to keep you grounded. So whenever doubt starts creeping in, I want you to revert back to that why and revisit it and reground yourself to that. I have a beginner's guide to homeschool that I created a while back that I like to share with people who follow me. So I'm gonna go ahead and link that in the comments below, because sometimes I feel like writing something out and being able to refer back to it whenever something happens really kind of helps us stay focused in our mission. My second tip is to celebrate those small wins. Maybe your child finally mastered a tricky concept that they've been struggling with for a long time. Maybe they were able to finally read a book all by themselves. Maybe you were able to make it through the whole first part of your homeschooling in smoothly, you know? Those things are huge. Celebrate that. You know, because when those things happen and we acknowledge those positive accomplishments for our kiddos, it gives them that positive reinforcement. It makes them feel so good, and they're going to want to do it more and more. And I'm just going to give like a quick example here. I've shared before, my son is a very reluctant reader, and we have found the book series that is for him. And he is so hooked on it. If you've never heard of the I Survive series, they are amazing. This summer, I went through all the books I used to have in my classroom library, and I was trying to find, I was like, man, this year I really want Noah to just find something that he loves and run with it. I want it to be not coming from me telling him, here, read this book. I want him to take the initiative to want to read it. So in August, I picked out 5 books that I knew that my reluctant readers when I was a classroom teacher really enjoyed. And I told him to pick the one that he wanted. He could give it a try. If he really enjoyed it and it was something that he was interested in, then I would look into getting him more. He picked one of the I Survived books, and he devoured the entire book in 2 hours. We went in the car. He brought the book in the car with him. I am being so honest. He just couldn't put it down. That made my heart so happy. After he was done, he told me, that was actually a pretty good book, Mom. Is there more of those? I was like, oh, gee, yes. As a matter of fact, there's like 22 books in that series. So I hopped onto Amazon. I told him I would get it for him. I'm like, if you really want them, that's going to be your independent reading for this year. I bought him the entire series. He has already read like 5 or 6 of them, and they're in a box. And honestly, whenever it's time for him to read, he picks it up, he reads it. Sometimes if he's in the car, he'll bring the book with him. After he's done, he puts the one book in that box and he picks out another one that he hasn't read yet. And he'll tell me, Mom, you should read that one. That one was pretty good. So to me, that was a huge win. And I'm celebrating it. And something that I have done is that when he's told me, this is a really good book, Mom, you should read it, I would read it, and he sees me reading it. It honestly takes me like an hour to read one of those books, and I would read it right in front of him, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this was actually really good. And that encourages him, because now I'm valuing the input that he is giving me. I'm not just telling him, here, read this book, I think you'll like it. No, now he's telling me, Mom, I think you should read this one because I think you would like it. And that is huge. To me, that is a huge win. To some people, that might be like, oh yeah, whatever. So your kid is reading this book. Not a big deal. To me, that's huge. My reluctant reader is taking the initiative to read on his own. And now he's making book recommendations to me. You know, amazing. I think it's 23 books that come in the entire series, and it's worth every single penny. And they are based on real historical events, which makes it even better, because as we approach certain events that have happened, like for 9/11, he read the 9/11 one. He read the Pearl Harbor one. He didn't want to read the tsunami one in Japan because we are planning to go to Japan hopefully soon. We are praying about it so that we can visit Sean's grandmother. And he said he doesn't want to be afraid when he goes over there. But I mean, see, that's a huge win to me. To some family, that might have not been a big win, but I'm celebrating that. So things like those, celebrate those little wins, because little wins to you are huge wins in reality, okay? Number 3 is huge. Limit your scrolling time. You know, I don't post very often on Instagram. Maybe one day I will. With my schedule and my time, I just don't have the time. But I have found myself falling into the trap of scrolling. It's very easy to do, and before you know it, you don't realize you have gone past 45 minutes and you're just sitting there scrolling. I actually have a time limit on mine. I think it's at 15 minutes scrolling time, and the little thingy pops up and it says, you know, remember you've hit your limit. I could either extend it, or I can choose not to do anything about it, or I can choose to have it remind me again later. It's an amazing reminder. If you don't have that on your Instagram or whatever app that you use to scroll in, add that, because that would be helpful. Or even use like a little timer, because what I've discovered is when you start scrolling and you start seeing all these pretty posts that people put in these amazing, perfect, curated homeschool rooms, or, you know, my homeschooling day in like 30 seconds, you're only getting those glimpses. You're not seeing all the hiccups that might be happening throughout the day, and comparison can creep in that way. So limit your scrolling time. That is really going to help you. And I know that's an ironic thing, you know, me saying it as a content creator on YouTube, but if you are looking at, and this is my advice to you, okay? If you are looking at a creator's videos, don't look at it as, oh, this is the way your homeschooling needs to be. Look at it as a reference. Maybe something that you can take from it that you can apply to your homeschool that you find valuable, not something that you have and must and need to do with your family, because quite frankly, something that I'm doing might not at all be relatable to your family. Like I said at the beginning, your family is unique to you. Your family has its own unique rhythms and interests, so you really want to keep that in mind. You can view and watch for reference. Don't view and watch for comparison. My 4th tip to you is to focus on your family's strengths and interests. Maybe your family is not an artistic family. Maybe they're not interested in all the music and the crafts and the art, but maybe they're more of a family that loves to do family games instead. Or, you know, you are filled with laughter and conversation, and you really have a strong family bond. That's amazing. That's a gift. Focus on that and make that a strength that your family celebrates. I know for my family, my daughter and my husband are very artistic, and I celebrate that. You know, they're into painting, they're into music. That is their jam. They love that, and I celebrate it. My son, not so much. I'm not a great artist neither. I don't know how to play anything, you know? So instead, what my son and I are working more on is our health, and we run together and we celebrate that. We're still one family, but we look at each other's interests and strengths and we celebrate that and we appreciate the differences that are within our family. And my fifth tip is to remember that God created your family in a very unique way. And your homeschool is going to look so different than somebody else's. And that is the point. That's the point of it all, is that it's different, it's unique to you and your own family, and embrace that because you're walking your very own unique path and journey in this homeschooling walk, and embrace that difference because that is what makes it beautiful. As we continue in this homeschooling year, I want us to stop giving comparison so much power and let it go. And we're going to see how joy and happiness and peace and accomplishment, that sense of accomplishment that we get to feel is going to flood back into our homeschool. And when we focus in our own path, we are going to be able to accomplish so much more than if we are looking at somebody else's green grass and try to accomplish what they're doing.